Some stories aren't carved in stone. They're written in bone. Today, we're going to journey into the heart of humanity's darkest triumphs to understand how the great empires were forged, not just with ambition, but with a brutality that's almost impossible to imagine. And that's not just some poetic metaphor. It's a literal truth, isn't it? One we often choose to forget. While in this explainer, we are going to remember. I record the stories of the vanquished, the ones crushed under the heel of history. So come with me. We're going to walk through the bloodstained halls of the world's most brutal empires. And the one rule is, we don't look away. So where do we even begin? Our journey starts with two of the ancient world's heavy hitters, powers that didn't just stumble into cruelty. No, they perfected it. They turned it into a deliberate, effective tool of the state. First up, the Assyrians. You could say they were masters of branding, and their brand, pure, unadulterated terror. See, it wasn't enough for them to just defeat you. They had to make the story of your defeat so horrifying, so nightmarish, that anyone else even thinking about challenging them would be paralyzed with fear. And this wasn't just random violence. It was a calculated message, a broadcast. Think about it. You flay one rebel leader and hang his skin on a city wall, and suddenly 10 other cities fall in line without a fight. You haven't even fired an arrow. It's statecraft through atrocity, power through fear. Okay, let's shift gears and head over to Rome, because what they did was different. Roman brutality was colder, more organized, more bureaucratic. It was baked right into their laws, their culture. And get this, it wasn't just reserved for enemies on the battlefield. It was for entertainment. I mean, just picture it. 6,000 crosses lining the Appian Way after the Spartacus Rebellion. That's a message you can't ignore. Or Carthage. They didn't just defeat Carthage. They erased it from history. A total deletion. And then you have the Colosseum, where death became the ultimate spectator sport, a constant public reminder of Rome's power over life and death itself. All right, now let's ride out onto the vast, windswept steppes of Asia, because a storm was gathering there. A force was about to emerge that would completely redefine the meaning of destruction and conquest on a global scale. The Mongol strategy. It was terrifyingly simple, almost like a business proposition. When they showed up at your city gates, you had two options. Option A, you open the gates, you submit, you pay tribute. Option B, you resist, and you are wiped from the face of the earth. Your city, your people, everything. No negotiation, no middle ground. It was, without a doubt, the most brutally efficient model for building an empire the world had ever seen. And the results of that policy? Just look at this number, 40 million people. It's a number so huge it's almost impossible to grasp. In fact, so many people died and so much farmland was abandoned that forests grew back, and it literally cooled the planet. Think about that. Their conquests changed the climate. You want to see what happened when you chose option B? Look at the Khwarezmian Empire. Their Shah insulted Genghis Khan. The result? His entire empire was erased. And Baghdad, the jewel of the Islamic Golden Age? They say that rivers ran black with the ink of all the books from its libraries, and then ran red with the blood of its people. This wasn't just conquest. It was conquest by apocalypse. Okay, let's leave the old world behind. We're going to cross the ocean and jump forward in time because I want to show you how two completely different motivations can lead to the exact same horrifying result, mass death. One was for the gods. The other was for greed. First, the Aztecs. To understand them, you have to understand that they lived with this deep, terrifying cosmic anxiety. They genuinely believed that their sun god needed a constant supply of human hearts and blood to win his daily battle against darkness. So their entire empire became, in effect, a giant harvesting machine for human lives, all to stop the world from ending. Now, contrast that with something totally different, the Congo Free State. And let's be clear, this wasn't a country. It was the private property of one man, King Leopold II of Belgium. The god here wasn't in the sky. The god was profit. The world suddenly needed rubber, and that insatiable demand created a system of forced labor enforced with a cruelty that is just staggering. And right here, you see this chilling parallel. The Aztecs killed for cosmic duty. They ripped out hearts to feed their god. In the Congo, the soldiers killed for corporate profit. They chopped off hands as a kind of currency to prove to their bosses they weren't wasting bullets. One was theology, the other was accounting. But the result was the same, a hell on earth. It just goes to show you, the road to absolute horror can start from very different places. And the cost of this corporate venture? 10 million people. Just let that sink in. Half the population of the Congo, gone. Not for a god, not for a flag, not for an ideology, but for a bottom line on a balance sheet. And that brings us to our final and perhaps darkest chapter, a moment in our own modern era, when all the raw brutality of the past was fused with the chilling efficiency of industry to create something new, something uniquely horrifying. The Third Reich, they really do stand apart. The evil here wasn't the hot-blooded rage of a Mongol warrior or the sacred duty of an Aztec priest. No, it was the cold, passionless, detached precision of a clerk, a bureaucrat, an engineer. It was murder as a logistical problem. They built a factory, and its only product was death. The true horror of this system was its system. It was an assembly line. You identify the victims using modern data processing, punch cards, believe it or not. You transport them on complex, coordinated train schedules. You exterminate them using chemical engineering, and then you dispose of the evidence in industrial crematoria. It was genocide as paperwork. Genocide as an engineering challenge. And the primary raw material for this factory of death? The Jewish people of Europe. 6 million men, women, and children systematically murdered, erased, in what remains the most efficient, industrialized genocide in all of human history. So, after walking through these halls of horror, what are we left with? What's the point? I mean, all these empires are gone now. Their pillars have crumbled, their armies are dust. What remains is a warning. You know, it's really tempting to look back at the Assyrians, the Romans, the Mongols, the Nazis, and just label them as monsters, as something alien, something totally separate from us, from who we are. But is that really the truth, or is it just a comfortable lie we tell ourselves? Because here's the unforgettable and frankly terrifying lesson. These empires were built by people, human beings, just like us. And that capacity for organized, systematic cruelty, it doesn't just disappear with time. It's more like a dormant seed buried deep inside the human condition, just waiting for the right poison soil to grow in, waiting for that moment when we lose our empathy and decide that some group of people is less than human. So yes, the dust of history is pulverized bone, and we've sifted through some of it today, not to despair, but to listen to its warning. To remember what we as a species are capable of, the very worst, and hopefully the very best. Tread lightly, remember the vanquished, and remain forever vigilant.
Please like and subscribe.